What's up, guys? In today's video, we're going to be talking about getting sewage out of a crawl space. Guys, this one's going to be gross. I'm just going to tell you that. We're going to look at pictures. We're going to go through an old case study of an old job that we've seen, and I'm going to walk you through everything. Like, how do you report it? What are the challenges with getting them covered, getting them reported? Carriers like to deny these things because they're very, very expensive. So today, we're going to talk about how do you go about selling it to the carrier? How do you go about getting coverage for this thing? How do you report it? Then how do you mitigate it? How do you get the thing out from an operational standpoint? Guys, sewage in the crawl space is nasty and nobody really wants to do it. Today I'm going to show you the step-by-step process that we do from reporting it to getting it covered to getting the stuff out of the crawl space and even writing the estimate. Basically, if you ever deal with sewage in a crawl space, even though it's nasty, you're going to want to see this video. Let's go. All right, guys, so yes, we're going to see pictures. It's nasty. It's gross. It is gross. But I'm just telling you, this is going to be a good video. It's going to be a good video. So let's start off right from the top. What are the problems with sewage in a crawl space, okay? So number one, carriers don't like to cover anything category 3 if they can because they're typically expensive. So in many cases, just know this, carriers don't like to pay for sewage in the crawl space for various reasons. They're going to be very expensive, okay? Now, one of the reasons why they like to deny them is because a lot of times they'll look at a cast iron pipe and there'll be wear and tear, and I think we'll have an image here in a minute that I'll go down and show you, okay? But just know this, they don't like to cover them, all right? And the reason why is they don't always know what the problem is, and they're going to assume or want to assume it's from wear and tear, or it's a leak over time, or it's a cast iron pipe that's leaking. That's kind of what they're going to do. I'm just telling you, it's not easy to get them covered, and so we use that against them, flip it on its head, and use the word, I don't know, right, to try and get everything started. But just know this, they're expensive, they don't like to cover them, and if you don't do this properly, you will get it denied, I can tell you this. Sewage in the crawl space got denied for a while until we learned what we were doing. But these are the problems with it. Carriers don't like to pay for it, okay? And now the other thing is this, one of the reasons why they don't like to pay for it is because if you report it as, hey, we got sewage in the crawl space, they're gonna be like, we don't cover that, that's not in the house, so you can't report it as sewage in the crawl space, okay? Now that we've talked about the problems, let's talk about what you need to do if you're gonna wind up getting it covered. So one of the things that we're gonna show you here in the pictures in a minute is we wind up finding something that is affected, a piece of framing structure or whatever that is affected, all right? And it could be from down below or it could be above. You don't wanna report it as sewage in the crawl space. It's a water job, it's a water loss, okay? And the first thing we're gonna wanna do is we're gonna wanna find something that is not supposed to be wet. That's what we're gonna do. And when that happens, that's a water loss. That's what it is. It's not sewage in the crawl space, it's a daggum water loss. You follow me? There's a difference, all right? A more specific answer is sewage in the crawl space, and specifics do not help you in these situations, okay? Because you don't always have these answers. In the example we're gonna look at in a minute, you're gonna see that the sewage is coming out of the crawl space door, so there's really no way to do an investigation of what's going on in there until you start mitigating. There's no way to determine what is going on or the cause of loss when there's sewage in the door. And so literally, I would just like tell the adjuster, I don't know exactly what's going on, but like, have at it, bro. And let them crawl in there because they ain't gonna do it. Once we see the pictures in the video, I'll show you that piece, okay? But what you wanna do is you wanna find something that is affected inside the house, if you can. And I'm gonna say in the house because in the case like the job that we're gonna look at today, the sewage is coming out of the door. You can't get in there. Do not have your guys crawling around that crap, okay? Like, literally. You gotta get the bulk extraction, and we'll cover that when we get to the operation. But just know this, you gotta avoid from just reporting it as sewage in the crawl space because the carriers don't like to pay for that stuff. And then you want to find something that is affected, something with a wet, elevated reading of moisture, okay? Water loss. And so we'll show you that in a minute. Now, I'm not one to go to the adjuster and beg for approval, but when we're talking about crawling around in pee-pee and poo-poo in a crawl space, we ain't doing that free. You understand? We're just not. In those situations, if we're not going to get paid and my client doesn't have a lot of money, and in the example we're going to look at, it wasn't a very expensive house. These people aren't sitting on a lot of cash. I think the dude was probably like an elementary school teacher. You know what I'm saying? Like, they didn't have much money and they weren't going to be able to fork out $10,000 or $11,000 to do whatever work we needed to get done. So in those situations, I'm going to talk to the adjuster and say, hey, we got a problem, and then I'm going to bracket sell my services to get permission to get started. That's what we do, okay? As we look at this, the very first thing that you're going to notice is this is what we were dealing with, okay? Yeah, it's that. You see that? Like that, guys, right there. That right there, okay? Somebody got to get in that. And like, that is so disgusting. Let me open that thing up. Like, you see that sewage right there? Like, how are you going to know what's going on in there? Like, That's the confined area that we're working with, and that's not poison ivy, but it might as well be. This is the space that we were looking at in this situation, super duper confined space, okay? So now you know what we're looking at, all right? So the first thing I want to tell you is when we get this, we want to find some wet reading somewhere in the house, because at this point, I don't know what the problem is in there, and I sure as hell ain't going in there to search for it. I'm not going to go do the insurance company's job to find a way not to pay for this job. That's not what I'm going to do, okay? So I just want you to see what we're dealing with. So imagine I come up to this job, I'm going to see that right here, and the first thing I'm thinking to myself is, I'm going to have to get some type of participation from the insurance company because we ain't getting in there and sucking that up. I can't even give you a good estimate on that right now, but I can tell you it ain't going to be cheap. Once I see something like this, then the next thing I want to do is find some elevated readings inside the house. And at least for us, we were in Tennessee. In the summertime, here's what you may have. You may have areas that because you've got elevated moisture and it's very humid outside, that elevated moisture trying to evaporate up is caused, okay, if you've been through your IICRC standards training, then anything under 16%, 20%, I guess if it could be like a crawl space or whatever, like these are wet areas, okay? That'll wind up being considered a wet area. So what we do is we go inside the house and we look for an elevated reading. If the whole crawl space is sweating, that's a little different deal. I want to find elevated in some spot. But if you can find something that is wet above the crawl space, now we've got a valid claim this thing needs to get dried out, because if it's wet in one area upstairs and it's not everywhere, it's going to be because there's been an introduction of something. And now you don't know if this is sewage or what at this point. This could be clean cat 1, other than the fact that it stinks. There could be two issues going on. There could be a supply line leak and a sewage loss in there. There can be two things. You don't know. You do not know. That's why you don't call it sewage. If there's two leaks going on and they're not going to cover the sewage, then report it as clean water, but you can't because you don't know it's there yet. That's why being vague matters. Guys, if you ever see these, or if you're in the insurance world and you want to learn how to make more money, go to workwithshane.com, and we have stuff that we can help you with, okay? I've done over 1,000 of these things. I know what I'm doing, all right? This will help you. Okay, but this is what we saw. We want to go inside. We want to find a wet reading, okay? That's one thing that you need to know. So let's get out of this guy here. Well, let me toggle back and forth. Ugh, dear Lord. See, this is a stock photo. I wish it was like that. The crawl spaces that I see, that's a stand-up space. That ain't no crawl space, okay? That is a stand-up space. That would be groovy to have that. So once we've got this little small tight area, that's the bigger thing for you to be able to see, is there's gonna be a small tight area. And one of the things that we wanted to do was go inside the house and find an elevated reading, okay? And now I don't think I grabbed multiple spots here. I've got some areas that are 20% on the hardwood here, and then the other areas in this situation were under 16. And so when I've got something that's reading over 20 and some that's 16, that's slightly over 4 points, and that by definition through the IICRC is wet, okay? And then we went into the bathroom where there's vinyl, and we had 33% reading here, okay? Now, in this situation, this wasn't a report that we sent out, but I've got other videos on photo reports. These are just pictures that we take internally so I can see what's going on for my team in the field, okay? And the cast iron pipe, this is what, when they want to deny it, they're going to deny it because of this right here. They're going to say, hey, this is an old leaking sewage in the crawl space. That's wear and tear, and we're not covering it, okay? So if you see the cast iron, you don't give up on the claim, okay? Because this one may have had cast iron in it too. I can't really remember. But in this situation, you want to find something in there that could be a sudden break, but you don't even know. So that's why we try to pre-sell it with saying, hey, we don't know what the issue is, but we've got something wet, and now we're going to bracket sell to the adjuster. So let's get back into how does that part work. So once I've got this sewage in the crawl space and I know that I've got something nasty like this, what I'm going to wind up doing is I'm going to go to the adjuster. I'm going to find out, we're going to file the claim, we're going to call it a water loss, and then I report it personally as what is going on. Not really sure. We've got a pipe break or something in the first floor, and the crawl space is full of water and the house is wet. There's sewage involved. We may report it like that. And the reason why I may report it as sewage in this situation, because if this thing gets denied and my customer doesn't have any money, I ain't doing this for free. If the customer's got the money, then we can bracket sell it, and then we can just do it to the customer. But if they don't have the funds, then you need to go to the carrier to make sure that they can pay for this stuff. And basically what we did in this situation is we bracket sell our mitigation. And so in this case, this invoice was less than it would normally be, but it's kind of what we told the adjuster we would try to aim for, which was this. We say, hey, we've got a problem. We don't know exactly what's going on. We deal with these all the time, and here's what we see normally. We need to do a bulk extraction first, and in order to do the bulk extraction, then we can do a thorough investigation and get you some pictures. Because right now, this is the only picture the adjuster gets other than the inside, but they don't get all the other stuff because all these other pictures that were taken were after this first photo. I'm getting the wet readings, and then I'm gonna get the approval before I do anything else. Does that make sense? So you're looking at all these photos, but these weren't all in one day, okay? So I'm gonna take this picture, send him that, and maybe get him a little closer up one to let him know there's sewage there, and then just say, hey, it's wet, and then I'm gonna say, hey, here's how we do it. Our pricing for this stuff is typically between this and this, and so I think we sold a bulk extraction of the liquid between pumping out the liquid at $3,500 to $6,500, and so we bracket sold it there. And then he's going to say, okay, great. Here's why the bracket selling works for him. He wants to make sure that you're not an idiot that's trying to retire on him, okay? And I'll be honest with you, when I started in the early days, like I was dumb. I didn't know what I was doing. Technically, that would be ignorant. I just didn't know any better. And half the time we were leaving money on the table, and then the other cases we tried to build too much because we weren't consistent and we didn't know what we were doing. And then over the years, I just developed a level head. Now, there are some adjusters that are straight up dirtbags. I'll be honest with you. You probably already know that to be true. But there's also some really dirty contractors out there too. You got to put it on both sides of the fence, right? Like you got to be willing to walk a minute in their shoes, and just remember that some guys see these jobs, they're going to try and turn in like a $50,000 bill, okay? And like, don't do that. Okay, don't do that. Once you bracket sell it between this and this, now you're telling him roughly what it's going to be. You're putting a bookmark at the under 10K mark or whatever that thing is. So even if it does get covered or whatever, he knows that you're not trying to turn in a $30,000 invoice at the end of this thing. So we basically get the extraction covered up front, just have that conversation on the phone, then I'll send him an email. And if you want to know more, I've got other emails, and we've got training programs where I walk you through a full case study where we look at the emails back and forth. I'm just trying to get this done in like a 15-minute YouTube video, and I'll be struggling to get it done in 15 minutes. I just want you to know, like, these are the things that we help our clients with, right? And I'm trying to help you for free with it. We want to bracket sell it and to get the approval to do the bulk extraction. Once they say we do the bulk extraction, then we'll go out there and do the bulk extraction. But let me say this. Once I get the approval for the bulk extraction between the $3,500 and $6,500 mark, then I continue the conversation and say, okay, great. We'll get that in order. And just for the record, sir, normally with this thing, I think it's probably going to be another $5,000 or $6,000 to bring them all in to finish cleaning it up. And so now I've told him it's going to be under 12 grand. In this case, it probably should have been more, that's for sure. But like, this was also a little bit earlier in our career, and I had different people on my team. Everything in restoration is closer to art than it is to science. You try to replicate it as much as you can, the processes, but these jobs look very different in many cases, right? If that opening was very much smaller, we couldn't have even gone through there. You would have had to go through the floor system. We've had to do that too. So you can't just build one protocol on how to do everything because most jobs are not alike. So hopefully that helps. Bracket sell the bulk extraction, and then let him know a bracket sell of what it would be to finish it up on the other side. And then once he's okay with bracket sell number 1 and bracket sell number 2, then you just tell him, hey, if it's going to be anything different than that, I'll let you know before we get started. And then I email him, I get all that in writing. Hopefully that is helpful. Now let's get into kind of the operation stuff. So once we've bracket sold the adjuster, we've got these phases here. So number 1, we do the bulk extraction, okay? What is a bulk extraction? That is going to be getting the sewage, water, the bulk liquids out so you can at least see what's going on. And how do we do that? I mean, you can see by my pictures. I used to try and get like a septic tank company to go out there and suck the stuff up, but they don't want to go out there either. Turns out nobody likes to crawl around in somebody else's poop. Okay, nobody likes that. So I couldn't get the septic tank company to go out there. So this was the process that we wound up developing, is we would do the bulk extraction with the submersible trash pump with a 2-inch line, okay? And this little joker's nasty. This does all my heavy lifting, dog. I love this thing. And that thing right there is under 200 bucks, okay? Submersible pump, you drop that down in there and it just goes to work. Now, you could put it in a bucket and drill out the holes, but I think in this case, they've probably got it setting maybe on the mud, but normally they'll have a little couple rocks or something so it's up out so the liquid comes out. But you'll notice here, you want to look for something that's a clean break. You can see right here that that's it, right? Like I think they had cast iron up here, and so that's why you can't assume it's a cast iron leak, because it may not be. And in this situation, the pipe just broke. That's sudden and accidental, baby. That is sudden and accidental. And that right there will get you coverage. And it got us covered, okay? But this 2-inch pump, what we do is we pump the sewage out, pump the bulk liquid out, and we put it into a 55-gallon horse trough. I got it at Tractor Supply Company. The dude that loaded my truck up, it might have been for this job, told him what I was doing. I went up hiring the kid because I told him how nasty it was. And he was like, and I told him we paid a lot of money. He goes, hell, I'll do that. So I hired him. His name was Justin. So like, Anybody that will work, dude, and you tell them those nightmare stories and tell them about how much money you'll pay them, I don't care how much money it costs. Like, to crawl around that, you can't pay me enough, dude. You can't pay me enough, but you can pay my guys enough, okay? So, but that's how we do it. We pump it out right here. And if this is helpful, drop a comment, a thumbs up or something on the video, please. This is just a better example of how you pump it out, and then we pump it into the 55-gallon horse trough, which you can actually see right here, okay? And we'll have a couple of these things out there. And so we'll pump the bulk liquids into that, and then we'll have the septic tank company come and pull that stuff up and suck it out. Y'all, I've told you I don't use truck mounts. I don't, I never have, never would. And these are the examples of how I do that stuff. Septic tank company will take care of it, okay? And then, yeah, this is why we get paid all that money. Look at that, disgusting. But yeah, fern coves, and there's your pipe break. It fell right there. All right. I showed the adjuster some of this because I want them to know that that is nasty when I'm turning in my bill. Okay. This is a no-no. Do not do this. My team did this. You see the DHU and the crawl space. Don't do that. There's different ways you could do it. We'll talk about that later. That's a good way to get your equipment nasty. Here is the happy customer. This is one of the dudes. And you can see this is another way to do it. You can put some lay flat over the pipe and put that in there. I'm not sure why it started this way, you know, and then it ended another way. In practice, that's the best way to do it. In reality, at the end of the day, you're going to do whatever you got to do, okay? So what we do is we do the bulk extraction, and then we pump it to the trough. Have the septic tank take it out, and then the third thing is that's going to leave you with a bunch of this stuff here, okay? And so once you've got it down to that level, you can't get the rest of the stuff out. Then we go in there and we get oil dry, okay? And you just freaking spray this crap. It's like kitty litter all over the place, absorbent, and then you shovel that crap out of there. Literally shovel the crap out of there, all right? And so this is how you do that physical extraction to get that out, okay? So I wish I had enough time to go through the estimate. I don't know that I will. This one wound up being about $10,000, and the reason why is because we bracket sold it to the carrier. In another video, I'm running short on time. If you guys want to see the estimate, go to workwithshane.com, book a call, and we can talk about it, okay? Plus, I don't like showing my billing on here because I've had carriers trying to get me into court, right? Because I teach you guys how to get jobs and how to get paid, and they don't like it when I teach you how to get paid, okay? So I don't show all of that out here the same way. But anyway, hopefully this is helpful for you guys, right? This is how we handle it. Bulk extraction, okay? Then you pump it out to a horse trough, septic tank company come get that stuff out, and then you use oil dry or absorption stuff to get it where you can actually execute it and pull it out. I mean, that's really it. Hey guys, if you enjoyed that video, I've got 3 things for you. Number 1, if you haven't yet, click on my face below and be sure to subscribe to the channel. Okay, we put out new content each and every week. Also, if you want me to help you grow your company, go to workwithshane.com. Workwithshane.com, put in your information, we can get on a call and see how we can help you grow your company. Lastly, there'll be some other videos right here. If you want to watch more content about growing your restoration company, check out one of these videos. We'll see you guys on the next one.